Welcome back to another Gaming Memories video. Here we are taking a look at Clock Tower 2. It's actually a sequel to the original Clock Tower game that was released a year or so earlier on the PlayStation.
You really think it's okay?
Even though this is a sequel, from what I've actually played of it so far, now I never played this back in the day of the PlayStation because it wasn't available in Europe. You could only get it in Japan and in America, so it was never released outside of those regions. But from what I've read up about it and from what I have played of it so far, even though it goes by the name of Clock Tower 2, it technically isn't a direct sequel. It's more of a spin-off because it doesn't actually stay to the original kind of plot lines of the original games that were on both the Super Nintendo and the PlayStation 1 respectively in the early days. So this kind of takes on its own kind of plot and narrative throughout the course of the game. Now I haven't really spent too much time on this. I played it pretty much for the sake of this here demo or video. I had wanted to play it for a while because I did play the original game and it took a while to get into it, but I did actually enjoy it. I've also done a previous video on that. I'll leave a link in the description so that you can go and check it out. But from what I have played it now, I did get stuck on it very early on. I kind of really didn't know what to kind of do, so it just kind of left me just running around blindly trying to figure out what to happen next. But from the premise of the story that I've been able to find out is that you play as a character like a young girl, but she actually has like a split personality. So she's also the hero but also the villain at the same time because of her split personality, and she can turn into whatever other personality at will, and then she goes on like a murderous rampage, but then she can also be on the other end. So the plot line is very different compared to most other games, and I know myself that even when I played it, I kind of got that vibe from it too. I was like, yeah, there's something kind of different about this here. It's like there's nothing that you can see that looks like there's anyone else around that's causing all this confusion. So the only person you can think of is that, and from what I read up about it, that's pretty much the case. Now I don't know really too much about giving away so many spoilers because I haven't really played the game all that much, but apparently the game has 13 different endings, and depending on different choices and so forth that you make throughout the game, it all depends on the outcomes later on. So as you can see here, it's like it plays very similar to the first game in the series, where you use the mouse to literally point at elements and interact with them, and you need to find keys and interact with different objects and so forth in order to be able to actually move from one place to the next. And as you can see here, like, it's showing different kind of elements in the game based off the story as to what's actually happened to some of the other people in the game, and it's not apparent really at first as to actually what's actually happened to them, but as the story goes on you would actually find out actually that what actually happens, that it's actually the person you're playing as that actually does all these horrific things, but it's the split personality that causes it. It is an interesting concept, I will admit, but from what I have read of it, it didn't get as good a praise in like games and magazines and so forth because it was very, very different. And the plotline, even from what I played of it so far, now I didn't play that much into it, but it does seem to be a bit confusing. Now it plays fine, you can interact with things, but it's kind of hard to know really what to actually do next. Whereas with the first game you kind of had an idea of where it was going, it had some sort of kind of plot line. This here, from what I have been able to play with it so far, it's not as evident straight away. I kind of literally just got stuck in the house and I didn't really kind of know what to do next. So it is kind of one of those games that I will have to revisit at some point and actually just try and sit down with it a bit more and try to figure it out. So I will actually do that at some point. I'll do like a long, in-depth, long play video on it and try to go through it if possible, like, and just try to understand it a bit better. But from what I did play of it, I like the way that you can interact. You're inside the house. It's always kind of got, these type of games have always kind of got those kind of environments, like similar to Resident Evil. You're always in an old, big, creepy type mansion or a big house, and it always sets off its own unique kind of like freaky kind of vibe. So it definitely always adds to the atmosphere of these games. So it is an interesting concept, but again, it's very, very different from the original games in the series. It doesn't follow the same plot lines. It has its own kind of plot line, so it's more of a spin-off rather than an actual direct sequel. But it is what it is. I'm sure there's people out there that actually have played it, and maybe the others that haven't. If it's something that you are into and you're into point and click type of games, or even into these type of horror type games, it might be worth actually having a look into and exploring and seeing what you think for yourself. Because that's actually what I'm going to do at some point. I will actually go and play another round of it and see how far I can actually get. It's just that this first playthrough I just literally got stuck. I just genuinely did not know what to do. If I pick up an item, I assumed that it would have opened up the next part so I can move on, but it didn't, so there's obviously something else that I was missing. In order to progress, I've noticed with this, it isn't as apparent to know really what to do next, so that's where you can kind of get caught out. But it's just something to be aware of if you're going to play this game.
This fireplace can still be used. Oh, the line's dead.
So what are your thoughts of Clock Tower 2? Have you actually played it? Did you enjoy it, or maybe not? If so, make sure to share your thoughts down in the comments, as I'd love to hear your experiences with this game and what you actually thought of it. So if you have enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, also subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon to be updated whenever I release future videos, as I will be exploring other games like this here that I never got to play back on the PlayStation back in the day, but I'll also be reliving old classic games that I did play and resharing all those old memories with all of you. So until next time, keep playing those classic games and enjoying them, and make sure to keep those gaming memories alive.